What is up? What is up? I have no clue how to get any of this audio, or sorry, the video onto the screen here. Cam Broham is out and about. He had a wedding this weekend, so I'm Matt Vrzal. I'm by myself here. God help us all. If you're getting an echo, it's because I am not in my normal area. I'm not in my normal setup, so it will just be listening today. But guy got to join us right out of the gate here. Jay Foreman is available. We're gonna click on this. I have no idea if this is gonna work. But we're going to see what happens here. Jay Foreman, are you there, my guy?
I'm here, my brother. Can you hear me?
I can. I can. I am the only one in here today, so I am. I am by myself trying to get this thing to get
The
any audio
struggle.
or get any video up on the screen. So right now, it's just a blank screen that says Husker Hangover with Matt Vrzal, and it's just rolling, rolling by itself. So we'll see what happens,
The struggle is real, my brother. It's all good.
dude. This is one of those things I don't need. I don't need any more extra difficulties in my life, but we got them going, and we're at least broadcasting. If you have any questions, comments, usually hit them up in the same spot you always do, and let us see what you guys got to think about the game. Hey, Nebraska, Matt Rule get their first win of the season. Jay, some guys that we had questions about playing the game of football actually did a pretty good job, and Huskers able to escape with a win.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, you can't, start piling wins until you get your first one. I think, the team has worked hard and at times played good enough to win, and then obviously it was good to see them pull out the victory and, get out of their own way. Especially after that shaky second series. So, I think that there was some progress there. Obviously, the most important thing is winning on the scoreboard. Winning ugly is just as winning pretty. And I think it's a step in the right direction for Matt Rule and company. And it was good to see Heinrich Harburg go out there and see what he could do. A little bit, less a stressful environment than Minnesota and Colorado, but needless to say, he needed to start somewhere. Ideally, you would probably rather had Northern Illinois to be your first game, but you're not the schedule maker. So, some of the things that you wanted to see them get better at, they did, and there were some things that need to get rekindled or reevaluated. One of the things that I was a little disappointed in is that Matt Rule from the very beginning of the week or top of the week said that Northern Illinois, presented problems defensive line wise. Well, for me, I expected the offensive line, considering that they'd had a decent week or decent 2 weeks, running the ball, against Minnesota and Colorado, which you would think, okay, they're just as good. You would take that as a challenge. I felt like the sense of urgency by a couple of the offensive linemen weren't there at the beginning of the game, and that's why I think it was kind of real chunky as far as execution goes. And
Like
so,
sporadic, like kind of
yeah,
happened.
sporadic, yeah. Because even in the first series that they scored, the blocking really wasn't, there, and the even the play like our Harburg had like a 9-10 yard read option gain. He ran up the back of the running back because the offensive lineman got blown back into his lap. So they started, and then obviously with the sack forced fumble that they gave up, Ben Hart, just pretty much two-hand touched the guy. So I just think it's one of those things that's a little disappointing. But one thing I do know is Donnie Raiola went and got after him at halftime, and they came out like a totally different unit, and that's where you saw more of the conventional run game. So everybody wants to, bang on Satterfield for not calling run plays. Well, they ain't blocking worth tiddly poo. You got to figure out a way to kind of move the ball, and that's with the, option game. That's with the quarterback run game, and that's with the short controlled passing game, which Harburg executed really well. And then obviously the defense started out fast as well, right? Where you got Nash, Hutmacher, I think he had 5 tackles right away, 3 of them for tackles for loss, a half a sack, and then you saw like the likes of Jamari Butler and other guys start getting after it, and the plethora of depth. You saw Javen Wright get his interception. You saw him make some plays. You saw Isaac Gifford make some plays. You saw better cornerback play from Hartzog and Newsom, and the safeties played well. And so I think the defense, led the way and really kept ship afloat while the offense was, starting to, catch their sea legs a little bit.
Is this what 2023 football looks like for Nebraska? Like play as great a defense as you win, and offense gets through there and looks ugly?
I think that's what they would like to have done the first 2 weeks, and then gain confidence from there and kind of expand your offense from there. So it's really like a New England Patriot type of way when Tom Brady first started.
Yeah,
Clock management, situational football, low turnover margin, be physical, and then as the quarterback starts to play well, the team starts to play better, expand the offense or lean on the defense as needed. But now this year, we've had to lean on the defense, at times too much. And then, the offense was actually playing keep away, which is obviously playing, not very good football. So I think that was a glimpse into it. And it should give them some confidence that they were able to wear them down. And it was a victory where you started to see more points on the board, bigger runs. You saw like a good combination of Gabe Ervin and Anthony Grant. Obviously, Ramir Johnson got hurt, which is unfortunate, or dinged up. And then you saw Anthony Grant make a, commendable comeback and average 6.6 yards a carry. You saw a little life from Thomas Fedoni, whereas he had 4 catches, 42 yards. And, you saw some
and a
guys who
touchdown.
didn't play particular, yeah, and another touchdown. You saw some guys that didn't play particularly well or had some not particularly, highlighted moments against Colorado on the road, make some comebacks. And, I thought it was a good victory for Matt Rule. Nothing that, problems are solved, but I think, actually some good problems were created with, Heinrich Harburg at least making you have to have a conversation. The defense continued to play well, and also the ability to overcome adversity as a staff and as a young team that's just learning how to play football. I think is also well as um, a good as well. A good thing as well. So I think it's a step in the right direction. Problems aren't solved, but I think it's also a thing to where I think you probably got a couple more answers, even at the worst case scenario.
Oh,
To um, at least
you may be driving through a tunnel.
I am, but I think some of the things you learn is that at least that you have, excuse me, serviceable backup quarterback, somebody if called upon can go in there and execute a game plan. Now, those talks can change if he starts to play better, or not starts but continues to play good, and those talks can change week to week, quarter to quarter, game to game, day to day. And so, you know, the way that the defense is playing is allowing Jeff Sims to watch and learn and get fully healthy. So hopefully they can get the best Jeff Sims out there, but then also it's allowing Heinrich Harburg to, expand his game and obviously, continue to, build a spot for himself, which is ultimately good for everybody. So competition is good. The competition is slowly but surely starting to be on, and it should bring out the best of everybody. But as much as this victory was good, you should be moving on to Louisiana Tech starting today when they start to wake up and start to do some recovery and all that stuff. Because one of the things that's going to be huge, and I think this is going to be the biggest thing, for the season and for this program moving forward, which has been a Achilles heel, for quite some time, even always dating back to Bo, is one, they've already managed expectations going into the season, right? Kind of like, hey, it's week to week. Now it's like, how do you manage your egos and some success? And then also, that's going to be short term and long term. And so, how does Heinrich Harburg bounce back after getting his first start in a victory? How does the staff bounce back after getting their first win? How does the leadership, as far as in the team, continue to push each other? How do we have those, self-reflective talks of, are we really this good? Um, have we arrived and all that stuff? Those are all things that affect what happens on the field because people don't think they directly do, but they do. Because if you think and you're always looking back on last week or this last game as your confidence, well, you show up to the next game and don't play as well. And you got Michigan 2 weeks ahead. We are in no position to start thinking about Michigan right now. Our biggest opponent is not only ourselves but Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there with your opponent, with yourself being the biggest opponent, like managing expectation. I think they've been able to go out quite a bit, and you win a game, and you get to go be BMOC, and you're walking around, and everybody's kind of fawning all over you. But keep things in perspective. Now, how seriously, Jay, do
Yeah,
you
yeah. I
like
mean,
these high ankle sprains that Jeff Sims can have, or that Jeff Sims has? Those can take a while.
yeah,
Like those aren't an easy go away.
they
Those nag.
can. Ankle injuries and hamstring injuries are always tricky, but the fact that he was warming up before the game, um, I think is a good sign. Now warming up before a game with no pads on and nobody diving at your feet, and the in the back of your mind that your ankle is still compromised is different playing full speed. But I think it's a step in the right direction. Obviously, they have an opportunity to maybe rest them another week, but you also don't want to have them go out there and not be sharp against Michigan. So it's just going to come down to where he's at physically, and then how much, I guess I would say, pain or what his pain tolerance is, and how well he can play hurt. You're injured when you can't play at all. You're hurt when you're dinged up, and so that's really going to be the tell-all sign. And Jeff Sims also has to make sure he's a good teammate as well, right?
Yeah,
See the bigger picture.
it's showed.
Understand, like, hey, look, yeah, like, hey, look, I might not. Yeah, he did. It was commendable too. You can very easily sit out there and pout. So I think he's obviously good. He's truly happy for Heinrich Harburg to do well. That also lets you know that there's some clear communication that he's in good standing with with his position as well. But you don't force yourself back out there because you don't want Heinrich Harburg to have another good game. I think you were a starter for a reason. Now I think some of that might have dissipated by your play, but ultimately, when he's healthy, I think according to Matt Rule, if I heard it right, that Jeff Sims is going to be out there starting. That doesn't mean that his leash hasn't gotten shorter. It just means he's going to have the ability to cement himself as the head and shoulders starter above Heinrich Harburg.
What if it gives it? If your motivation becomes better, right? If you know now, if you came in and said, okay, well, I got this kid that's maybe going to play some if we get ahead big, but then he goes out and plays and shows out a little bit. And I think I'm with everybody when that first drive went down, I was like, oh boy, here we go. We're about to get some stuff done. Like this is about to go really well for us. And then it all kind of sputtered around for some other parts of the half. But now you have pressure. Now you have somebody behind you that could come in and play and start the game and do those kind of things. You know what I mean? So that's the dynamic has
Yeah,
changed now in this room, and because the kid has started and he got to win.
yeah. I mean, you can't take that away from him. And but then also listening to Matt Rule and looking back at the Colorado game, as far as the fumbles, the first fumble is 100% on Jeff Sims, and you should have recovered it regardless, right?
Uh huh.
But you could argue on the motion that the motion guy was definitely not motioning with a sense of urgency both times, and
Yeah.
so um, is that on Jeff Sims or is that a combination? So those are the things that Matt Rule says that where there's other factors that go into it. So I think they're going to make the best decision. They understand this is a team wide decision. Also, he knows that everybody's watching how they handle it. But I know right now, even if Jeff Sims is healthy and Jeff Sims either dings himself up or doesn't play as consistently as they like, I think they feel more comfortable throwing Harburg in there. Or if Harburg has another good game, they feel more comfortable going in there and having a starter with the knowledge that Heinrich Harburg is going to get some playing time against real time opponents, and that would be Michigan. So, look, the pressure is everywhere. The pressure's on Harburg to double down on what he did. It's pressure on the coaches to get him ready to do it. It's pressure on Jeff Sims to be a lot better than he was before, and it's pressure on the offensive line to get better. It's pressure on the defense to continue to be better. because your ultimate test will be against Michigan. That's what that will tell you where you're at. Now, will you be able to hold Michigan to 138 yards total offense? Most likely not. Like 5 yards rushing and all that stuff. No, but it's going to let you know how physical you are. It's going to let you know how fundamentally sound you are. It's going to let you know how tight your defensive scheme is, and it's going to test your will. And that's what you want. That's what you come to Nebraska for, and you're going to have to lead the way as a defensive unit. And so it's going to be interesting to see who and what players or groups, position groups, that steps up and answers the challenge. Not only in a couple weeks, but just very shortly here next week.
Hey, how much you like the way number 12 plays? Omar Brown.
Yeah, I mean, he represents. He's from Minnesota, so he's a tough kid. I think he came in as a transfer from Northern Iowa, got a little bit of the injury bug, and I think he had the talent. I knew about him before, and so I think I'm happy for him. Look, I can tell you this now, whether the coaches want to say it or not, the emergence of Deshaun Singleton and Omar Brown, along with Gifford, allowed
We're losing you, bud.
for the rule to be black and white. There was no gray area. Can you hear me?
There, as you were talking. Yeah, now I got you back.
Yeah. What I was saying is the emergence of Singleton, Omar Brown, Gifford allowed the team rules and the expectations to be black and white for Miles Farmer, which led to the suspension in the beginning of camp, and then obviously eventually him leaving. And that's just a byproduct of people coming in and buying in per se, or just coming in and working their tail off and taking advantage of the opportunity. It's also a byproduct of Matt Vrzal being you do what you need to do, you're going to play. And those three guys in particular, obviously Omar Brown, have continued to play well. Game 1 to game 3. So the expectation is, 12 games in a row to play that well. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Singleton. I'm happy for Gifford because flourishing. And it's a hard. A lot of these kids are, 2 or 3 position coaches, 2 or 3 schemes, and all that stuff, and not being very good. So it takes a lot of, test your manhood to stand, answer the bell.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, competition, it does nothing but make you better. And it's on the field. It's in your own room. It's practice. If you're competitive with yourself, knowing that you have to get better every day. But it all worked out. And Nebraska was able to get a win. You are you about buzzing around today? What do you got going on this morning?
Headed down to the 937 the ticket studio, so I'm just pulling here. So I got to jump off and jump on to a after game show. So busy late night, early morning, man. Our brother needs a nap.
Would you go out and turn up right now?
Yeah.
What do you mean running on fumes?
Late night, late game. Ha! No, I did an afternoon show, and then I watched the Colorado State game, and then took a quick nap and then came in.
Colorado State pissed that thing away.
No rest for the weary, my brother.
I just didn't know if you were hanging out with Reggie. I think we lost him. You still there?
No, man. It was I was watching yeah. But hey, dude, I watched the game last night. Just like everybody else, I was, they wanted to see, what was going to happen, and Colorado pulled out. But Colorado, that was their best game of the year, so they're probably on the way to get their coach on the hot seat.
Yeah. Hey, that one against Oregon will be interesting next week, and Jay Norvell's boys, they tried to do what they could do, but it just didn't work out. But hey, buddy, appreciate you. Jay has got off the call. He's got to hop in and do some stuff this morning. Hope everybody as well. Jay had a little window there where we could get to him right away, so we took advantage of that. Thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. Cam is out at a wedding, and I have no idea how to get There we go. Is that better? We're back at it here. Thank you guys. As always, I don't know what we caught out of that, but thanks for joining up this morning. Jay had a chance to hop on with us today, really early before we had to get some stuff done. So hope everybody's tight and right out there, getting to celebrate a Nebraska win. If you want the blueprint for the rest of the season, when possible, Nebraska just played keep away. First half, they had the ball pretty close to half the time, 15 minutes, 45 seconds. During the first half, able to kind of, man, I'm not going to lie, that first drive Nebraska had, I was like, buddy, we are about to do some damage today. This is what this should look like. Walk the ball down the field, hit BK3, Billy Kemp the third for a good touchdown. Harburg looks impressive. The offense looks like it's going to hum. And I was super excited. Not that it just looked like a team that was ready to go. It looked like a team that was prepared, believing what they were doing, got after it, walked down the field, scores touchdown. Then we get the ball the second time. Defense, of course, lights out again. Our defense, and I don't know the level of the offenses outside of Colorado that we've played against, but they look good. They're impressive. Flying around to the ball, look like they're just having a blast. And everybody knows everybody else's responsibility. Depth be damned. They go out and they play hard and they play together. And it's really awesome to see. Fast forward, second drive, third drive. I think it was a fourth drive because there was kind of some sputtering in the middle there. Nope, it was the second drive. Sorry. Just trying to check my notes. It's kind of nice without you guys having to look at me because I check my notes. You don't know what I'm looking at. The pass play down by the goal line when Harburg gets almost immediate pressure as the ball is snapped, ends up being a fumble, and they all come over to the sideline. Anybody that has ever coached in their life knows 100% what Matt Vrzal was going through on that occurrence, because he knows the camera's on him and he wants to lose his shit, but he can't. He wants to cuss, he wants to swear, he wants to freak out, he wants to do all of it, but you kind of clench your lips together and you try to just make it look like you're mumble talking. And there was just a "what the fuck are you doing?" And he just was screaming for all high hell. So it was funny to me because I've been there and I know 100% what he is going through. Nebraska perseveres though. Offense sputters around. Defense keeps them where they need to be. And they bowed their back after the fumble, and to give up a field goal there was impressive. It was another impressive outing. And just you run out of superlatives for them because they do such a good job. Hopefully that can maintain, like Jay was saying as he joined us very graciously this morning. You're going to find out a lot more about yourself. You're going to find a lot more about yourself here when you get to play Michigan. Like Michigan hops on board, doing what Michigan does, tons of size, tons of speed, tons of talent. It'll be a big challenge for Nebraska's defense and Nebraska's defensive staff in that game when the size advantage is not on your side. Like they have to find bodies that can play, because Michigan will have the opportunity to wear them down and just grind and grind and grind. They'll be perfectly happy playing the punt game. They have no issue with that. So that will be the real test to see where we are. But Nebraska gets a victory. And then I love the part probably the most is when the second half started. Energy still there, fire still there. Punt, of course, right out of the gate. Get it your second series, punt again. But now everything you've done has taken its toll. And the runs start to become bigger and they start to become longer, and momentum is building. Good to see Anthony Grant in doing his thing, after Ramir Johnson was out, Gabe Ervin limped off the field. So now he's there, right? He's involved in it, and there's a difference. He's a different back. He looked super aggressive when he got in there. Another jolt. I thought Harburg did a nice job of carrying the ball the entire game, protected the football outside of the sack, which I think was a blown pass protection. Guys that I was hard on last week, Ethan Piper did a really good job in the game. Was it perfect? No, but was it a controlled aggression where he could really get things done and make good plays happen? Actually, scramble / design quarterback run. He got out, just flattened the defensive back. It was great to see because he could display his athleticism. He's an athletic kid. Got out there, bam, smoking people. So quick to the comments here. Patrick says Harburger's number one. Aaron, much as everybody, offensive line needs some serious help. Couldn't agree with you more. There's work to be done there, and the more that you now can really dig deep and start to get these things accomplished, get more cohesion, get more of all of it, right? You settled in and you've got to win. I've talked about this in the past on this show, that sometimes you have to teach winning, and sometimes you have to teach that winning is the expectation, and it's not an anomaly. Instead of you finding ways to lose, you know you're going to go out and win. The thing for me that makes it difficult at times is we don't need any help. Okay. We don't need help from ourselves. You can't be your biggest detriment. But the game plan last night was very simple. I thought also Harburg was very impressive at throwing the ball at different angles. It's very hard to zone read, have a guy come in your face, and drop down almost to a sidearm angle and just flip the ball out to Billy Kemp. The play action pass to Fedoni for a touchdown was really nice. Now all of the little things, right? There's a couple times where there's a pass that got dropped. The ball was a little bit behind. I don't know Jeff Sims' health, but as you work through this, you've got to make sure that those get cleaned up. It's your first start ever. Would have liked to have seen him settle in a little bit more third and fourth quarter, where the throws weren't behind like they were early in the game, but they still were. So that is what it is. It's the way it goes. You got a kid starting his first game ever. Compliment here from Florida State Mike. Says, let's not talk Florida State today. A nice win and happy for the kid from the home state, or the home state Kearney kid. Yeah, 100%. It's good to see the Nebraska kids go out and do well. It's good to see them. Common theme so far this far in the comments. Our good buddy John says it doesn't matter. Harburg beat a group of 5 team at home. Sims' turnovers had nothing to do with the talent on the other side of the ball. They were all well on him, and it cost Nebraska wins. I think it cost Nebraska a singular win, but it is what it is. That is a very common sentiment here as we get going on the comment section. The patience I thought displayed by the Nebraska staff was also impressive. It's a hard thing to go out and you want to commit to the run, but it doesn't provide anything. It doesn't provide any result on the field. You're not getting the huge plays that happen, and you're not getting everything that you want out of the play. Is it ugly? Yeah. Does it grind? Yeah. Do people like it? Don't care. I mean, it's a thing that for Nebraska to continue on the rest of the way, as we look now at their schedule outside of Michigan, if you can take that game plan that you had against Northern Illinois, to steal from our good buddy Damon Benning, it is portable. It can go from station to station. It is very easy to do. You can make those things happen. So it's a thing that should be the focus. And I don't think that the offensive coordinator is going to come under any heat if he just does this. I think actually he gains credibility if he just focuses on a game plan like this, and maybe even pare it down further, right? So we're going to put this, so we've got 5 plays running the ball that we're good at. And you take, but I think maybe where the deficiency in the preparation comes, not that there is a big deficiency, that's probably a poor choice of word, but if they are just able to master and get reps good v good. Because I think the workload of the defensive line in practice is going to have to come down some because there are so many people or so few people that they have in that room. And so now you're going to have to keep them fresh. You're going to have to keep them. And these younger kids are going to have to really step up and play and be a viable part of this. And they have thus far. It's been interesting to see. But I think Knighton does a good job of coaching. I think he really has the guys prepared. I think he has them mentally ready to do things and to play well and to have high expectations of themselves. They have a confidence in what they do. It's a quiet confidence, but the defensive line plays with a different swag than the offensive line plays with. And I think that's something that the offense has to start to mirror or pattern or learn from or be that way. There's phases in this where Nebraska's offensive line technically looks phenomenal. But then there's plays where it looks remedial. And it's simple breakdowns, it's technique breakdowns, it's base, like keeping your base wide. Hand position. If your hand position isn't good initially, reset your hands. All those little things kind of add up over time. Northern Illinois had no issue just getting after it. Like they wanted to do that. And they did at times. And it shouldn't happen the way it did, but it does. But the evolution of it, the progress of it, like Ethan Piper made a huge jump. Should he still be looking over his shoulder for somebody to come take his job? Yeah, he should. And somebody behind there has an opportunity. It's good now that Jeff Sims was a great teammate in the game. Harburg comes off the side, coaching him up. Hey, buddy, he told him. He straight up told him. Said, hey, calm down. Take a deep breath. Relax. And let's get after this. And that was a cool thing to see. A guy that probably looks back and remembers his first start and how fired up he was, and you forget the simple things. Like, hey, let's just breathe. Like, take a quick second, catch your breath. Well, let's see what happens here. Just relax, calm down, and we'll go. So the team aspect of it, for me, is a pretty cool thing to see because they've got a lot of guys coming together. They've got a lot of guys that are really grouped up here and they're doing their thing. Okay. The rest of it, though, now has to evolve. Like, you make this a deal or an opportunity where I don't want to be the weak link. I don't want to be the guy or the face of the game that I feel is the lag. I don't want to feel like I'm hind teat. Like, I got to make sure my position group is at the top. And you can create competition in everything. If the leadership in the locker room or in your room itself, because everybody's got their own little meeting room, in whatever meeting room, your alpha dog in there goes in and says, "Hey, we are now toward the bottom. We are lagging here. We have got to step up our game. There are no more excuses. There are no more reasons. There are no more thoughts about it. We are going to do this. This is what we have to do now." And so as it comes about, it's not going to be the most popular thing, but as our center, Scott motored down the field on a long run, a great play call, little pass down the seam, got her done, and away we went. And he's hustling behind the play, right? Like he's hustling. And if you're big and you've run that far, will you see him do that again and hit a defensive back that kind of toward the end of the play? I understand why the refs call it. Do I like why the refs call it? No. But you flew down the field. You sent a message. If you looked, nobody from Northern Illinois kind of went over and a couple guys chirped. Nobody came to really address him. That's okay. Because there's going to be times where you're hustling down like that and you're not going to make that penalty every time. But somehow a receiver, a running back is going to be able to break a tackle because that's their job. Like, great runs and things, very rarely are they clean where you're touched by nobody and you just get to haul ass down the field and away we go and into the end zone. Everybody's happy. Look at us go. But that hustler, that attitude, or that relentless nature should become contagious for an offense. They should all fly around. They should all be near the pile, borderline to that whistle. Now, will we probably get one at some point in time that costs us? Yeah. But I'd rather have you flying around and be on that edge and have the officiating crews get used to say, hey, this is the way Nebraska plays now. So I've got to keep some of these things in mind. I've got to keep some of this. Hey, they're going to be, I'm going to talk to them about it. Say, hey, nothing stupid. We understand you guys are aggressive and you fly around. These conversations happen. But we got to, I'm going to flag you if it's blatant or if it's this late or however it goes. Okay. But going in your room has to be the room that fights toward the top. Like that's got to be a goal of your position group room to be the one that is up there as the best of the best. Brian asked what shirt I got on today. I actually have on a red shirt with a white end, bud. It's a W day. It's a W. Happy Husker Hangover. It's one of those deals that what else would you wear today? I've got nothing. I was going to wear the F-bomb shirt, but it was like I need a geez, I can't even remember it. Team America, the South Park creators. We just need to just say Nebraska, fuck yeah. But it was good to see the boys win and have them get out. Walter, still not a fan of Satterfeld. He's trying to settle in, man. He's trying to get into a rhythm as a play caller, and sometimes it's difficult. I knew this was coming. Sometimes it's difficult to do that. Your talent changes, guys get hurt. You're not, you haven't been around them a super long time. I know you've had a whole summer and a whole camp to get it figured out, but his rhythm gets off at times. T.O. was great at it. He would be 4 or 5 plays ahead. He would know in the third or fourth quarter that a compliment that he ran to something in the first or second quarter would be there because he had created a lack of trust in the second level. We would do something in the first quarter. He would come out similar look, maybe different formation, and he would run just a compliment off of the play he had run in the first or second quarter. My linebacker was like, okay, they're just in a different formation. This was the blocking they used. I know where this is going. I'm going to vacate this area. And boom, the ball was in the area he had vacated and away he went. And it's cool to see. The great play callers are rhythmic with it. It just flows. And it's fast. I still can't believe, and I know I gave Jeff Sims a hard time, but I take it back. There must be so much verbiage in these plays that they have to have a wristband because Harburg was reading off of the wristband. So Jeff, I apologize. I retract my statement. I thought maybe that was why they had him on the wristband. That you were having problems, interpreting or getting it all in, or the receivers couldn't run them in, or whatever it was. That's on me. Harburg's reading them off there. I'm not a fan of that. I think you can eliminate a lot of jargon and get things done efficiently. Because the less I have to think about what I'm doing, the better I'm going to play. And maybe that factors into some of it. You're reading a novel, and then your play clock is run down, and you've got 5-6 seconds left to do it. Like to actually run the play. But so yeah, that clean that up because I think it'll speed the game up. It's a lot less thinking. Like tag a name of like there's crazy names for it. One of the craziest ones I was ever a part of, and it was as I was covering state championship games. for whatever the network is now. It's not NETV anymore, but Bramer, however you want to say it, up at Pierce. That guy had a novel, but they were all buzzwords, and every buzzword had a meaning, and the kids knew all the meanings of the buzzwords, and it was slick. It was really cool to see it all happen. David joins us, says, "Don't know, but I think we are better than Colorado. Should be at least 2-1 if you want to play the transitive property. This NIU team beat BC the first week, the same BC team that almost beat the number 3 team in the country yesterday. What does that mean? Likely nothing. But it's a solid win to get this team confidence. Now, get the win next week, and this team can realistically be 5-3 after its first 8 games." That's the end part of the statement. I probably agree with most. I don't know where we are. I don't know what we are. But I know when we can control what we have and tailor play calls to our talent level, we're going to be a 6-6, 7-5 team. And everybody would take that. Every single body. Because like David was saying, you've got the opportunity to go and just cruise along, build and find your identity in these games. You got Louisiana Tech up next. Somebody can help me in the comments. I don't know what they did last week. I don't know where they ended up. But team you should beat. Defense is going to continue on its path. Cannot speak highly enough of how Coach White's defense plays. Credit to linebackers coach, credit to defensive line coach, credit to secondary coach. They have a safeties coach, credit to him as well. But that part of the team operates very well. Special teams, pinned them deep. Did a good job. Missed a field goal. Got to stop doing that. Your boy at Stanford, I believe is his name, 37. Saw a picture of him rolling in the stadium, which will make it, this next thing will probably make everybody puke a little bit in their mouth, but rolling up in his cowboy hat a la Dion. I know Dion has no claim to the cowboy hat, but came out then and did dude stuff. You know, Foreman would have had more time. We would chat with him about what it's like to be a bullet. He's never been a bullet, which is the bullet is the whitest guy trying to get down and cover on the punt. That was not a fun job. There's no part of that is a good time. None. Not one of them. But our guy got off the block, flew down the field 2, 3, maybe 4 times. He was waiting. So I catch this ball. So I do, and he was pretty cool with it too. He knew he had his guy beat once he got off of the contact of it. So instead of just trying like some of them do, and it works for some, but to run down, then you're kind of doing this weird like arm dip, and they're kind of lurking behind you. He just let the guy kind of freak out, and he just ran behind it. And so, a la Barry Sanders, shout out Barry Sanders for getting a statue up in Detroit there. He just lurked behind him and kept the guy spinning around a circle. Before you know, he's at the ball and made a good play. They downed the ball inside of the 5 on a punt. So a lot of good things happen on the special teams. Another phase. Okay. So we boil it down. Offensive line room needs to realize, hey, we got to get better because we're probably the ones lagging behind. Offense in the 3 phases of the game says, hey, we got to get better because we're lagging behind. How do we get this to where we're able to get going faster in the game? We're able to not have a crucial pass protection breakdown down by our own goal line and give our opponent the ball at the 2 or at the 3 because eventually we can't keep putting our defense in these spots. We have to be better at this. We have to make sure that we're getting our offense or getting our defense a chance to play in the middle of the field so now they can be more aggressive. They can get us the ball back. They can get picks. They can do all these things. These are thoughts you have to have until your group is very, very good and you don't have to think about it. They'll tell you like, hey, it ain't us. Like we're about to do this, and you ain't got to worry about us. We ain't gonna be the ones lagging behind. We're gonna be the ones forging ahead. You ain't got to worry about my position group, coach. We're doing this on our own. Fred says, can we get Rule a bottle of water and some chapstick? Guy works those lips over in prodigious fashion. Yeah, there was, yeah, there's some comments made on the interwebs. I don't know how many people are clicking along on the interwebs, but Rule coaches have a tick, and he's got a tick. I don't think it equates to anything else. The people on the internet, you can go look it up yourself. I'm not going to say anything, but they are insinuating. I think he just gets revved up, and I think that's how he moves. I'm a hand like if I really get going, I'm a hand clapper. I'll bruise my hands when I clap. That's just everybody's going. That's it. It looks weird though. It looks real weird, but hey, everybody's got their own thing. Continuing on through the comments, keep the comments coming. I appreciate all you guys participated today, being that it is just me, Kent the Barber, listening up there in old Norfolk. Norfolk Catholic supporter, probably. Norfolk Catholic kid had a good game, better than he's had in quite a while. Sean says, I know most teams are right-handed, but boy, the difference between the left side and the right side of the line last night looked night and day. Even had to stick a tight end to help them. If you offensively, and teams will play different ways. Some teams will have a strong side defensive line set up. Some will have a weak side defensive line set up. So when you get that, if you say, hey, we're going to start to make our formation look like it's, I'm just going to use this on the offense's left is the strong side of our formation. Okay, so the defense gets itself set, and then you move a tight end over. And so now you've taken what was perceived as the strength. I'm just talking about a tight end that would be on the line of scrimmage. You move him over to the other side. Now you've changed the strength. Oftentimes the defensive line will just slide. Okay. So they'll just move over one guy back to where the new location of the tight end is. Well, Nebraska found something that they really liked running against their right side of the offensive line versus Northern Illinois' left side of their defensive line. And that's where a lot of their chunk play started to come as they wore Northern Illinois down during the game. Those are just coaching maneuvers because play callers are constantly prodding and they're saying, hey, do this, do that. Let's see if this works. Can we get an advantage here? Do we have great angle here as we're blocking? Okay. That's a probably not a part that's talked enough about in the whole game planning system. When you create great angle for your players, meaning and ideally, you've got a 45-degree angle free run shot at somebody, or you get in a spot where you can work two pairs, meaning I can work two offensive linemen together. I can work an offensive lineman and a tight end together. I get my pulling fullback, or I'm just going to call him an H-back. I get him a good angle to run across the formation and hit somebody without that guy knowing. Those are all good. And that's the end game of design of play. But they found something they liked. And credit, they stuck to it on that side. Like they kept pounding the ball to the offense's right side. And it worked. And wide side of the field, short side of the field, it's okay. It's when the numbers change and the angles are good, you have to take advantage of that. And you saw that as that happened, now play action pass becomes viable. I thought the patience Harburg showed when they decided to run draw a couple times was really good. Because you'll have a designed hole that you want the draw to go to. But the defense isn't just going to quit. The defensive coordinator is trying to pick the right gap too. And a couple times he did, and Harburg was very patient, and he let things develop in front of him. Then he took off. So good things to see. I thought for a first start, it was very very good and very poised by them. Uh, Brian Brian came from the same cloth I did. It was it's about kids. Keep it simple, stupid. It's very, or as he put it, keep it simple, Satterfeld. It's the simpler you can keep it, the less thinking there is, the less verbiage. The way it goes. Brian also let me know that Virginia Tech lost 40-37. Okay, this is probably where we can focus a lot of our discussion or comment as we go on through here. Very happy Nebraska got a win. I think the goal for the rest of your first half of this here is you logistically can get to 500. You have a chance, and that's all you want. Chip in a chair, however you want to put it. Walter says the Big Ten West is a catastrophe of biblical proportions. Amen. Okay. Amen. Nobody in this has run away with it. Right? Iowa had some early issues with their opponent, whichever directional school they were playing, and then came on at the end, wore the opponent down, really sent the point counter through the roof, getting 41 in that game. Wisconsin was going back and forth with Georgia Southern, ended up pulling away at the end. Michigan State played a really, really good opponent in Washington. Got to be a tough deal to have a running back that used to be with you, playing for somebody new, come in and score against you. But they have so much other stuff off the field to worry about. It's going to be hard for them to focus. I'm just being honest with you. Illinois wasn't what I thought they were going to be. I thought that Bielema would have somebody that would be able to come in and replace Walters and get him an opportunity, to become a new D coordinator and pick up right where they left off. That is not the case. And then their offense is obviously having some issues as well. Purdue, back and forth. Syracuse ended up scoring a late touchdown to make that look a little bit worse than it was. Maryland, Wisconsin, all of these games are there to take. Do I think that Nebraska is going to lose to Michigan and have a clean sheet after that? No. But I do think you can go in there and win where you can lose. You get 3-3 in the first half. 4-2 on the back half is not unrealistic. Like, legit, a lot of your goals and everything you have that you've wanted to accomplish this year are right in front of you. But now I got to flip that brain and make sure that brain starts to take over for Nebraska. That confidence, that zone, as some like to call it. When that can take over and you can go through and you can do those kind of things, and it's changing the wiring of your brain. It's not the expectation to find a way to lose. It's the expectation we're coming out here to win. When you start to think that way, watch how the play goes. Watch how they play. I know nobody wants to make the correlation. Colorado goes out and expects to win every time. They fully believe and expect to win every game they're going to play. Colorado State had chances and opportunities last night to make that thing real ugly. They just couldn't get over that hump because Colorado defense made plays. They were down, 98-yard drive, 2-point conversion, tied the game, got it to overtime. Jay Norvell had a chance to make a statement. Second overtime you score, go for two. Put the pressure. I know you have to go for two, but first time you score, go for two. End it. Just try to end it right there. Sharpie had some great comments. He was making some TO references, but that wasn't what Norvell wanted to do. So they had the utmost confidence in themselves. Some of the folks in Nebraska don't like it, says, oh, it's too much. It's not this, it's not that. That's also not our team, so we don't have to worry about that. But if our guys started to think a little bit more like that, and they started to think in that manner, then we're good to go. Sean asked, do you feel no huddle would be good for Harburg? I think no huddle would be good for any quarterback that Nebraska has. If we're having to stop and look at a sheet and read a novel, that means I get a quick hand signal in and we can go. I think it's a good changeup every now and then to just kind of randomly go hurry up, kind of get an opponent off guard and run at it real well. Everybody's having a big issue with rules talk. I'm sure there's probably an account creator already. It's rules chapstick or something, but anything to gain confidence and make that operate efficiently, I'm good with. And I'm up for trying stuff. Try it, see what happens. The worst thing that can happen is that you're going to get a rhythm, but you have to rep it in practice. So do I think that's going to be something we're going to see? No, probably not. But that's okay. If we can get this play in efficiently and you get that goal, say, hey, okay, this week, fellas, we want every play run with 10 seconds on the clock. And then the next week you go and say, okay, fellas, we want every play run with 12 seconds on the clock. And then you walk yourself down into that and you eliminate a lot of the opportunity for things to get misconstrued or thinking to happen. And away you go. And you try to get that as close to quick as possible. But the speed of it has to come. There were times it's pretty cool when you're a bench warmer like I was, but you were around or near the coaches. And you're guessing a little bit what's being said on the headset from the box, meaning the guys up in the sky that are watching from the windowed seats. Coach Osborne would run play, and he would straight up pick out one position. Hey, Frank, what did the outside linebacker do? Hey, Milt, what did the 3 technique do? Hey, so that information, he didn't have to see it himself. He trusted their eyes. Their eyes said, when we did this, got in this formation, blocked this play, he did that. Goes into the Osborne supercomputer and would come out with a play that was going to work. It was going to work well. And it was really cool. But it also was a light bulb moment for me. That was like, hey, you can never call plays. You are not built for that. You are not built that way. That's self-assessment. You can just watch your 5 guys at once. That's your talent. You do that. Let the other guys computer process that and come up to play call. I called plays for one season of Malcolm JV football. And God bless you, Aaron Schmidt, super smart kid. I just look at him and nod and be like, you call it. You run stuff. If he got a little pass heavy, he'd look over and I just make the motion of 2 fingers walking, aka running, and then he'd start to run it. But there is no way that I'm calling plays. John says to a comment earlier, when you're a preacher's son, you learn to say, God damn it, motherfucker. In other ways, Bill uses his lips and his face. Yeah. I've been there, man. He wanted to light that kid up so bad, but if there was no cameras there, God help you, buddy. I'm glad that happened. Because it was good to see. The guy's passionate about the game. He wants to win, but he wants to win his way. He wants to win the right way. And that's the way it goes. WBD3 says Dakota's Crawford has no catch for La Tech so far this season. Dakota's did transfer to La Tech. Interesting dynamic that we're going to get to figure out is a player that was here coming back to here. Thankfully, the defense has changed. It's a completely different setup. He's going to know a lot of the bodies. I'm guessing La Tech, if they play him a whole bunch, is going to have asked him, hey, who, if we can get you in a one-on-one matchup, do you think you can beat? But obviously, no catches in the game, probably not a huge target for them. Mike says we could see Nebraska gain confidence as the game progressed. Very true. We could. You can see it. It was cool to see in the fourth quarter. where all the body blows that they had thrown, all the things that they had done started to pay dividend. They started to really be able to get after it and get the ball going downhill. And that's the confidence I'm talking about. Like passes and pass completions, cool. Glad we're able to do that. It just hits different when you're able to run the ball. It hits different. Your teams that are good, like really good, when they get down to it or it gets to an uncomfortable situation, you turn it over to the 5 up front. You say, we need yards. We need these things. We need it to go this way. And you do. And you can see Benhart get more confident. You can see Noelle get more confident. Scott was confident. Piper was confident. Corcoran, as much people want to bag on, his feet were really good, like really good for the majority of the time in this game. I haven't been able to say that in the first 2 games. So some of that stuff has clicked. 2 Pistons pound, like just pounding up and down. In the big, 8th grade, I think it's 8th grade football game going on right now. Team Hoskinson versus Team Benning is playing right now. Matt Hoskinson teaches Bam Bams. They'll say, all right, what are your Bam Bams? It's nothing more than just your first 2 steps. Bam, bam, get your feet in the ground, start pumping. Away you go. Yeah, if you want to just hear an immense amount of like drama, here by about 10 o'clock, we're going to hear from, well, we won't hear from him. I will hear from him. But yeah, the brawl for it all in 8th grade football is probably going down right now. Team Hoskinson versus Team Benning. So I'll see if I can extract some of that when I talk to the boys this week on the radio. Jeff Sims does have an interesting setup coming up. I thought it was really cool. And he looked genuine, like when he plays, pretty stone-faced kid, like not a lot of emotion. Would like to see, when you make a good play, like a little more emotion out of him. Watch your older guys that are new to your program take care of your younger guy that's been in the program. That was a cool thing to me. That was a really cool deal. And it's not in everybody. Like not everybody does that. Kid from Alabama, the middle kid got benched. They ran through 3 quarterbacks. When one of the quarterbacks took him down the field and scored, he was the first guy out there celebrating. That means a lot. This means you're a good person. It means you're a good teammate. And that's something I think that Nebraska, right now they can focus on. They can get a lot of those people to do those things. And now you've got the ball rolling, right? Now you've got the ball rolling. Those of you that are still keep tabs on it, you send me messages in other places and other forms. Yes, it is still on the board. If Nebraska does get it to over 500 at any point in time, we will release our Paisans Pizzeria secret menu that's been hidden for quite a while. I just saw the menu the other day. It is still in the drawer. There will be an extra pamphlet that can be handed out at tables. And I do not have your mom's daddy blocked on Twitter. He'll have to get his stuff figured out. But yeah, once I get over 500, that baby comes out. Simple as that. I'm excited because I can see a path to it. But the next step in the journey, the next step in the path is progress. How do you progress through to take this win and move on to the next? If it's a 24-hour rule, great. If it's a 12-hour rule, even better. You should be focusing on the next one already. You should be zoned in, locked in on Louisiana Tech because you have to. You don't have luxury of looking forward. There you go. You just heard me drink live on air. The ability to do those things is the next step in it, right? It's the next piece of the equation. it's the next piece to winning. Your preparation now becomes better, right? So as we go on through this and we get down to the brass tacks, and let's not kid ourselves, like everybody and their dog, I was a little nervous about it because I thought Northern Illinois would be able to come in and run a little better than they did. But everybody and their dog had Northern Illinois and Louisiana Tech both circled as wins on the schedule. You've been able to get one of them. The first two didn't go the way that you wanted to, Minnesota and Colorado. But it is what it is. It's in the past. No need to look in the rear. You're on to Louisiana Tech. Not taking an opponent lightly, and then getting yourself ready to take that next move. Now, the next move to me is I just have the drive charts up. Okay. So Nebraska first half, touchdown, fumble, punt, touchdown. And then punt. Okay. If you get those where the middle isn't so iffy, right? Fumble, punt. I'm not saying you have to go down the field and score on all three of those. That's not real, or all four of those. That's not a realistic thought. That's not a realistic expectation for what Nebraska is right now. But if it's touchdown, long drive, then punt and play field position, win. But the yards on it for me are what get me. You have 2-play drive for minus 12 yards, a 3-play drive for 8 yards, a 3-play drive for 1 yard, a 9-play. See this is the one that's good to me. A 9-play drive for 43 yards milks the clock. That's 5 minutes and 12 seconds gone. So as you're playing teams that are more your caliber, and that's no disrespect to Northern Illinois, but as you're playing more teams that are your caliber, that 5-minute drive where you drive 43 yards and then you punt, you play field position, that's where I think Nebraska's bread can be buttered as you move up and you get into your conference schedule. Like those are drives that can win you games. They can win you games like a tight Wisconsin game or a game against Iowa who will play this style regardless of what. They don't care. This is how they're going to play. This is what they want to do. That is what I'm looking for. Like that to me is progress. Now, would you love to see that thing read touchdown? Yeah, but it ain't. It's not going to. But where it pays the dividend is later in the game. You come out third quarter, punt. Your drive was 3 plays, negative 4 yards. Some of this is play calling too. 58 seconds, lost 4 yards, punted. Your next possession of the second half, 6-play drive, 21 yards, 3:30 off the clock. You punt. Okay. The one that I think really turned the tide is that third possession, and not the tide needed to be turned, but the third possession of the second half. 14 plays, 76 yards, 7 minutes, 10 seconds off the clock. That's a soul-crushing drive. Okay? 14 plays. If you have anybody that can sustain a drive for 14 plays, and we don't have a gunslinger back there that we're going to be able to dink and dunk and just kind of pick it apart. But that's a soul-crushing drive because you can't get off the field for 14 plays. Then you follow that up with a 9. It takes 5 minutes, 33 seconds. Then you got a 5. That was 35 yards after good defense, of course. Through that, that's the sauce. Like just put people in that grindhouse, get your offensive line confidence, touch up all those things that need to be touched up, and get after it. They're still lunging and missing on the offensive line. When you lunge and miss, your feet aren't moving. It's I can't make it any simpler. If you see an offensive lineman get pulled through something, their feet aren't in motion. and their hips aren't engaged. The more you can do that, got to clean up the drops. Somebody in the comments, by the way, thank you for all the comments this morning. Keep them coming. I don't know how long we'll go today because it's a win, and this should be our expectation. We should have joyous things, but we won a game, and there's a ton of things that can still get better. But drops, the drops affect not only your confidence, they affect the quarterback's confidence. Not every quarterback has that receiver mentality. Sorry, that relief pitcher mentality. Hey, I dropped one. Don't worry, I'm catching the next one. Quarterback's like, hey, I had a bad throw. Don't worry, just put it back in my area again. I'll catch it. Those are contagious. Those build. Right? The offense needs a boost of confidence. But Fred says, how much did the play calling change from one to the other? I'm guessing he means by quarterback. I don't think it changed a whole bunch. But I thought Harburg was really crisp in decision. Now, did he miss a couple times? Yes. There were a couple shotgun options. I like to use the term shotgun option. I probably don't use it enough just to piss off RPO guy. But in the shotgun option, there were a few that he should have pulled. Meaning he should have kept the ball and gone around the corner because the defensive end rushed inside. Probably also need to work on some better moves in open space, in open field. Because they were there when he did run them. You got safety coming up, get a little shimmy, little shake. Easy to say from a fat 48-year-old sitting in a chair in an office. But my expectation of that is just a little shimmy shake and a few more yards, make guys miss, break an ankle. Not yours, theirs. That's how the touchdown was set up later in the game when he scored. He had given and he had given and he had given. And that defensive end said, hey, I got to go crash this because they don't like to run the quarterback. False. Pulled it around the corner. He went, outran the outside linebacker to the corner and scored a touchdown. Awesome to see. But there were other times earlier in the game where that could happen. And then once you start to do that a little earlier, your play at the end that scored is still going to be there. But it also keeps that linebacker, that safety honest if you come shooting out of there with the ball. But I think the play calls were similar. I don't think the pass plays were. I think they try to boil the pass plays down to a one-look read rip. I think Satterfield feels, and it's just my opinion, feels that he can build that to where he can scheme it to where it's like, hey, bud, you're not going to have to look very much. If this guy does this, that will be open. Get it there before the safety gets there. There's a lot of holes in the middle of the field with the defenses that Nebraska's been facing. So a lot of, 10, 12, 15-yard in routes. Run 15 yards, run into the middle of the field, hit it in the soft spot of the defense. Because Nebraska's receivers currently don't have that over-the-top guy that can just get open by running past somebody. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not on our roster. I don't know how many watched the Ohio State game, but he blew right past two defensive backs, and they just gave him a clean release, and he just took off. He gone. And then his high school quarterback threw the football, they scored a touchdown. We don't have that guy. That's okay. We don't need that guy. But the route concepts to confuse the secondary, would love to see an uptick in those. I thought Harburg threw the ball really well on the run. One of them, the throws I remember was by choice. It was roll out. The other one was by necessity. Got pressure, rolled out, hit Fedoni, made a great toe tap catch on the sidelines. That's the Thomas Fedoni we expect. Like that's the one we want. Billy Kemp III, the practices I had seen, did a phenomenal job, didn't drop anything. Did catch a touchdown in this game, but had an opportunity to catch more and then really show himself like being that slot guy, being that receiver that could get out there and cause havoc. One of the tougher things in football to cover are crossing routes. For those that stayed up late and watched the game, even the great Colorado, I say that fully tongue in cheek, couldn't deal with the crossing routes. Colorado, they ran the whole game. By the way, number 5, the tight end for Colorado State, he really good. He did fumble, but guys got great hands and deceptively fast. That's what I can see Thomas Fedoni doing for us. Crossing concepts, mesh concepts, some of them will call them in the jargon world. Those are good, nice, windowed, easy throws. You're looking at this guy. We're going to cross 2 receivers in the middle of the field, hit one of them. Like the concepts to get the guys open. Washington did a nice job early in the game, catching the football. And I'm not saying that they had costly drops, but rhythmically, confidence-wise, building off of that all the time. Like these are the things that get the snowball built, get the snowball rolling. But your next big test is Michigan. We don't like it. I've said it on this show for years, but that's your next measuring stick game. You will know what you are when you get done with Michigan. Are we a team that can fight and we can play? And I'm not looking ahead. I'm not looking past Louisiana Tech. Because last time Louisiana Tech was here, Edwards and Rattay threw for what seemed like infinity yards. Thankfully, Louisiana Tech's defense did not attend the game, and Nebraska was able to kind of just score. So just got into a back and forth slugfest. Don't want that. Don't think that's going to happen. I think Coach White's got his defense where he wants it. It progresses every week. Gets better every week. You see more bodies in every week. And now you got some people that you think can hop in and help you. They're just like defensively. Think about this. Nash Huntmacher, 6 tackles. Hartzog, 4. Javen Wright, 4. AJ Rollins, 4. Quentin Newsom, 3. Bullock, 3. Sanford, 3. Gifford, 3. Reimer, 2. Borders, 2. Heinrich, 2. Omar Brown, 2. Ty Robinson, 2. Singleton, 2. Boodle the second, 2. Princewell, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to attempt on the last name, buddy. But you had 2. Jamari Butler, 1. Bear, 1. Sherman, 1. Lynham, 1. Branch, 1. Hill, 1. Nation, 1. There's no one main tackler. Like you're getting more and more guys into the game every week. You're getting more and more guys that they're getting reps, getting confidence, getting all those things done. Like that's awesome. Now, here's my only issue with it. Number 0, number 86, 14 I'll give as one of ours. 9, 18, 10, 48. Like I need some higher numbers, and I know we're special with their single digit numbers. But I need like a number 89, or I don't know the kid's numbers, but my point I'm trying to make is I need some of the bigger guys like to be in this game so we can see rotation. I need Judy. Robinson, Huntmacher, those guys, those boys all up front, they're going to get worn. It's just a long season. There's a lot that goes into it. You can get ground down. Got to get like some bigger number dudes in there that are playing a bunch. They're getting a ton of playing time. This may be a sneaky storyline of the Louisiana Tech game. Okay. But get up early. Okay. Announce your presence with authority. Put that one on your bingo card. We'll get the Nuke LaLoosh out of the way. But get ahead early. Okay. To where you can put your younger defensive linemen in the game and get them unbelievably valuable experience. Is it going to be the same if you get in and play against Louisiana Tech as if you play against Michigan? Not even remotely in the slightest. In even some netherworld, as the aliens join us here, which they've been with us here already on Earth. But that confidence or that lack of the oh shit moment when you go into your first game, if that ain't against Michigan, that's a lot better setup. That's a lot better way to do it. Get ahead early. Secondary roads, I mean, they have luxury, but they're taking advantage of that luxury. You know, they've got guys upon guys upon guys upon guys that are in that game. But they rotate through a lot. And the awesome part to me is there's no drop off in it, right? Like they all are in there. They're all doing their thing, and it all is easy to watch because it's still all part of the system. Still all part of what they do. Really cool to see. In secondary, linebackers rotate what they rotate through what they have. They rotate all that through. Sean comments here, and I'm glad Sean is up. But Sean argues the other way. Those crossing routes will be hard to hit if we don't have somebody that can stretch the field. Those safeties will stay close to the line of scrimmage in the middle of the field. In the middle of the field, look at Messi. Here's the thing with it. The safety has to respect the body. Okay. Safeties infamously in games will play back deeper early. And those creep up as they get confidence in the game. You can keep that safety honest. And again, this is the relaying of information, which I think is oftentimes overlooked in the game of football. I have a mom football setup with all the senior scut football moms, fantastic group of ladies. We go every night. Sorry, we go every Monday night, and we watch. We're actually going to talk defensive coverage concepts this week, so we'll cover this. So I kind of set you up to walk right into this. As long as I have a threat, a post threat, a 9-route threat, which is just a go, something to distract the guy in the middle. Okay, insert Malachi Coleman. Very fast human being, very fast. So now I put Malachi in a spot, and I said, Malachi, you're going to run 15 yards. You're going to take about a 45-degree angle. You're going to run toward the goalpost after that. That safety has to respect him because even though there's not been a lot of production, he is a true freshman. I'm not saying anything against the kid. But even if he buzzes by there, and those crossers, that's not working. And that ball gets chucked out to where the safety once was on that post. That safety coach on the opponent's team is going to say, hey, bud, that guy real fast. And our corner can't hang with him one-on-one. You are the safety for a reason. You have to patrol that middle. So we will hand them this underneath 8-yard crossing route. Let them have it. We'll come up and tackle it. But don't get beat over the top. Okay? Fits talent. Fits what you have. You got to use that. If there's another burner in there, right? And I don't know the roster well enough on the receiver side to make an educated discussion on that. If you've got another burner, throw him out there. Hey, on the other side, he's going to run a 9 because he's got to keep everybody deep. You now are going to run the post on your side. You're on the opposite side of the field of the 9 route. You're going to run the post to keep the safety honest. Because Nebraska currently must have something that people fear because they're able to hit the middle of the field when they want to. I'm just saying, give it a new look for their eyes to see. But that's a good comment. That's what it is. But Everybody that I talk to says, we got to use Malachi, we got to use Malachi, we got to use Malachi. Great. I'm in. This is how you can use it. Almost as a decoy. And if Harburg chucks up there one time and it's behind the safety, safety gets his ass chewed by coach. Safety now is back in the safety is back waiting. If you want to run this mesh concept and you get a corner that wants to just squat in the flats and wait for the crosser to come, great. Now you just run a little stop route or a little 10, 12-yard out route. Get past the outside corner who's playing in the flat. I'm on the left side of the formation here. Turn left, and we're just going to throw the ball outside there. So now the quarterback, you tell him, hey, you're going to look here. If that quarterback is squatting, meaning he's just going to play the flat, just throw it over the top of the out route. Because that safety now has to run from his middle field responsibility. If they're playing cover 2, which means they have 2 high safeties, he's got to run from his quarter of the field all the way over to the outside of the field. Love it. There's a ton of routes you can run off of things and concepts where you can make an easy read and there's an easy throw. So for Sims and for Harburg, I think a two read throw is good. Okay. You're going to look at this guy first. You're going to look at this guy second. If the first guy does this, ball goes here. If the first guy doesn't do that, go to the second guy. And if he's there, which is going to tie into what the first guy did, apologies if this is confusing, but defenses have to work in lockstep. They can't have 2 guys covering the same thing. They can't have 2 guys doing completely the opposite thing. They all fit into zones if they're playing that, or they all fit into man coverage. God bless if you get man coverage. Can you imagine Fedone running a crossing route and then you get a little bump from the other guy running across the field? And now you got that big monster out in space catching the ball. Safety's going to run free, yeah. Like I said, take your speed guys and just run them straight down the field. You can cross with tight ends from the inline position. You can cross from guys in the slot. There's tons of creative ways where you can get it very simple and easy read. And it's coaches that assess and bring their style down to a digestible manner for the knowledge level or the skill level of their position players. Those are great coaches. Coaches would say, nope, this is how I do it. You're going to run it my way, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't work. Coaches say, okay, my guy thrives at this. After 2.6 seconds in the pocket, he's going to get antsy. So if I give him a 1 read, meaning he's going to look, if we're going to throw it, he's going to look at one guy and throw it. Great. Then in a week or 2, I'm going to progress him to check that guy, throw it here. Now you sprinkle that in with your run game. I thought Nebraska was very efficient when they wanted to play action pass stuff. That's how you evolve, and that's how you keep this ball rolling. That's how you make progress every week. So by the end of the year, when you get to the back half of your schedule, that's there to take advantage of, you're ready to walk through the door. Are they going to break down? Now, I don't even think I got to get to the penalties. Did we have, what was Nebraska's penalty situation? Did we false start this game? I don't think we did. Holdings happen, but somebody help me out as I look through the statute. I don't think we false started, which is awesome. Penalties, yards, NIU. Nebraska had 1 penalty for 15 yards. That's a damn clean game for us. And maybe I was even wrong. Maybe we didn't have a hold. Oh, second quarter. That was just the second quarter. Jesus. Sorry about that. Give me everything together. I don't care about quarter by quarter. We had 2 for 25 in the third quarter. So we're at 40. fourth quarter, 2 for 30, so we're at 70. Holding 2 personal fouls. Thanks, Mike. Like I said, Ben Scott. I think his name's Ben. I'll take that one. I got no problem with that. The other people will get like pissed. Oh, I can't do that. Holding's gonna happen. Our feet don't move well enough right now. John asked, what happened to your whiteboard verse? Buddy, I'm back in my office. I'm like in a closet. I couldn't get the camera to work. So I'm legit it's like sitting in my Paisan's office. I do have a marker wall and I've got an extra camera. But the way this whole shit show went down. So Cam last week was like, hey man, got a wedding, probably gonna be like immensely hungover. Wife's gonna get pissed, or wife's, kind of pissed because I gotta work 7 days a week now. The show's like, no problem, dude. Totally get it. Teach me how to do this stuff. Okay. Teach me how to get this thing going. I'll set it up myself. You don't worry about it. It's not like we got advertisers. I'm just doing this for therapy. Appreciate all of you for listening, by the way. Thank you guys so much. And so he's like, well, I'm gonna come in on Friday at 3 p.m. I'm like, oh, buddy. I'm like, here's the deal. I was like, I'm gonna be at Paisan's about 3:30 a.m. because we got big caterings. Fridays is basically turned into a catering day. Just a heads up, if you want to eat lunch at Paisan's on Friday, come after 3 because we have catering. It's a huge order for us. It's a big deal, but we have that for the rest of the month, and there's gonna be more. But if Cam comes in, he's like, hey, I thought I was going to be slick. I was going to get my computer in the office to just play our huddle film so it would stay on because, computers log out if you don't use them, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, I'm so smart. I'll just play huddle. It'll keep running in a loop. It's got motion. The computer won't shut down. Well, I was wrong on that. So after hours of time, it still shuts down. So come in. He's like, hey, do this on the laptop and we'll just set it up. Well, the laptop doesn't have my cameras plugged in, all that stuff. And I bought some cameras because I think I'm going to try to do some stuff on Patreon with Jay Foreman and I and just break down like sports, life, whatever. But now I'm not out having to panhandle for sponsors and all that stuff. And I do have a couple of people interested in sponsoring the show. We just haven't linked up. So anyway, I'm in here scrambling shit, putting it together, plugging stuff in this morning. Full-blown panic. I'm sweating. Like it's 50 degrees. I'm absolutely beautiful. Sweating my ass off back here. And finally, I got stuff set up. Went to push play. And I push play. And all you guys get to see is the logo. So I have no clue how to make the cameras work, but I'll get it figured out because Cam will have some other days off. John, Cam signed. Shut up, dog. I didn't push the on button. Cam is when this all went down, when we left radio and we were doing this and we were trying to form Cam. I called Cam. I said, hey, you want to do this? And he's like, sure. So Cam now is part of the operation until he doesn't want to be part of the operation. And I totally get that. So that's what happened. So that's why I'm in the office. I do have a whiteboard in the office. So next week, hopefully when Cam will be out again, he'll teach me how to do this. We'll get the cameras working on my bigger computer and I won't be such a jackass. But Kent says, finally a 14-play drive that went somewhere. Just keep running the ball. Give that line some confidence. Yeah. We talked about it early. And I've mentioned it ad nauseum on here. The more you can get confidence in those guys up front. And the tight ends are included in. The fullbacks are included in. If 44 does a good job. I mean, he really does. Liebentrick came in later in the game, came around the corner. That's full bias, homer comment. If he gets in the game, I'm going to mention it. I'm just telling you. So if you don't want to hear it, that's the way it goes. But they all started to get confident. Luke Lindenmeyer, 44. Had a good game. All this momentum. Got to build it. Got to get it going. Got to have those things go. Fred said, did you turn the ovens on? That is the main thing. Fred, I turned those on when I got here at 6. So like, listen, dumbass, you're going to panic. You get the ovens on now because you don't want to be sprinting out of here mid-show. So we did get those on. Mike asks, there was a PF. Oh, personal foul on Scott. Oh, we're going over the penalties. And one on the interception. Yeah, that's all right. I said, for us, penalties. Here's the fun thing about penalties. Okay. I have a favorite penalty. I don't like penalties. I don't want penalties, but I have a favorite penalty. My favorite penalty now is an offensive play or say you do something for 20 yards. Okay. But you're hustling and then you may get a personal foul like Scott got. And so you back up 15 yards, but you net 5. And then you accept that penalty. It's like, yeah, this is awesome. We got 15, got first down, backed up, still first down, and away we go. Like I'll never ever fault a hustle penalty because you can fix those. Hey, love the hustle here. Absolutely love every piece of it, but got to be smarter. It's much more difficult discussion. Say, hey man, I really wish you would have hustled here more. I really wish you would have busted your ass for your teammate and got to this backside linebacker and done this. Caesar say, hey, we're going to back that down a little bit. Let's make a smarter decision. Love the hustle. Way you go. Never fault a hustle penalty. But the way this went for Nebraska, a lot of positives to take out of it. A lot of things to still clean up. Blocking, play calling, route running, okay? Drops, defense. I don't know. It's pretty crazy, but I can't really bitch too much. Depth, and that's not their fault. It's the way the roster was structured. Not the team's fault, not the coach staff's fault. But now I'm looking for development. Like who's the next guy? Because the 4 that you're running through against Michigan, and I'm not looking past La Tech, but you got to be able to have 5, 6, 7, 8, ideally 9. Your roster doesn't allow for that. I mean, what a moment to have your younger guys burning one of those games, right? As you're a redshirt freshman, you get 4 games to play in. So you burn one of those 4, and away you go there. Your mama's daddy, let me know if you got your signal up and going. You said you were having connection issues earlier. But, take some of these young guys because you're going to have to. It's not the best situation. It's not ideal. If you got to throw them in there, you got to throw them in there. I mean, shit. You got nothing to lose. You're literally playing out over your skis. So just chuck them in, throw them right in the middle of the fire. Literally right in the middle of a burning inferno. But do it. Or if you want to pop their cherry, get them in this game. Get ahead early, get them in this game. Then you burn 1, 2 right now. Because, man, I don't know where you go. If 0 or 9 gets hurt, I don't know what you do. So polar bear, and here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Just keep playing. Like play hard, feet moving all the time. If those 2 dudes get hurt, the defense now has some struggle. So it's a great opportunity to advance. You got to find more guys that can give you value in the D line. Like I mean, sometimes you can't make it just appear out of nowhere, but somebody's got to step up. Somebody has to. Somebody commented earlier about Eric Gilbert had gone home and gotten in trouble. Really, really reliable source from a friend of mine down in Louisiana, and said that because he was at LSU, then Georgia, then here. Maybe I had said this already too, but had been at a party or a club and had a drink that was laced with something, and it's done some damage to the young man's, you know, his psyche. I mean, some of it's a terrible thing. Um, you hate to see it, but hopefully can get the help. I'm not a medication guy, but maybe there's medication out there that can help. But yeah, thoughts and prayers with him and his family. Obviously having a lot of struggle, a lot of things that are rough on him. So hopefully he can get that. And I know Nebraska and the way Nebraska operates, they hopefully still the way they operate, but I know they'll do everything they can to help as it needs. So this is interesting. So we did see a couple plays. Teddy P was in it, tight end. One of the plays, I didn't catch all of them. I caught a couple of them. But one of the plays, the one that scored on old school, like the way it should look. Good foot move, good hand placement, drive into the end zone, celebrate. The other one got a little antsy and steps weren't the best, but still in the way. But it's going to take, he's got to develop trust. If you look at him, 2 knee braces, I think 2 shoulder braces. His health, like getting him healthy, like from Illinois on, he's a starter for you. I think now you see what Nebraska's offensive line could really look like. Much as I was talking about, and Johnny brings this up, much as I was talking about on the offensive line or on the defensive line, getting guys in, I think bringing them in on the offensive line too. If it's Sledge, if it's Knutson, if it's those guys, by all means, get them in the game. The worst thing that could happen is that they're good. The absolute worst. But again, put pressure. Make sure no spot on any part of your team feels that the job is theirs and that they will not be pressed at all for it ever. Competition is healthy. Competition is great. Make sure that those guys know every day I got to go earn my job. If that means Teddy goes in at left tackle, I think they have Sledge at the guard, though, John. They put Sledge in at guard. You get guys running around, and now things look really, really different. We got to win. It's a great thing. That feeling is good. Get to 500 by the end of this first half of your schedule. Get to 500. That's the goal. Write it on the board. Break it down into incremental things. Because now I have something tangible to look at. You can put up the win the day stuff. I get it. I know the message. Win the next one. You're at 500. Prepare. Empty the tool bag on the game after this one. See what happens. Get your measuring stick game. Don't shoot yourself in the foot the one after that. 500 after the soul-crushing first two losses. Hand in the air. It's on right now. You can't see it because I can't figure out the camera. The hand in the air. I'd take 3-3 coming out of the way it started. Because now your mind will start to comprehend, I can't give those away like I do. I can't give away any games. I can't try to do too much. I can't turn the ball over. I can't be the reason. To kick a horse when it's down. Have a fear of failure. The big, buzzword now is I win or I learn. Well, if you're learning, you failed. You did not accomplish the goal, which was winning. Everything you need to do is we're still right in front of you. It's funny how football all kind of comes back around full circle. This is not a defeatist mentality, but I'm okay if we don't win the West, because I think you're setting yourself up for a big deal. Now, that is as of today, right now. Do I think we can win the West? Every star in the world will have to align. But crazier shit has happened. Did I ever think we would be in this position now that we are today? 25 some odd years plus after I have graduated college? No. But it is what it is, and we are where we are. But set realistic, tangible goals. Put them up everywhere so everybody sees them. You have to see them. Told you guys many times. Our goals for our season were everywhere. If you went into a door, they were there. If you left the meeting room, they were there. So just you can't help but look at them. But make them fluid, make them mobile. Make it so every time you see a doorway, you see the goal. Beat La Tech, win, get better. The 1% better thing. I think that one's a little overplayed, but whatever. But everything you still want to accomplish right there. That bowl game, those 15 more practices, more exposure for your team. In a weird, twisted sort of way, as you progress, you can really see this come to fruition where it's like, hey, they went from shooting themselves in the foot 2 games to being a disciplined, non-turnover machine team. What nobody knew walked through the door. These guys evolved into this. They did this on their own. They did this through hard work. They did this through effort. They did it through preparation. They did it through teamwork. They did it through all these things. You write your own story, but you can change the narrative of yourself very quickly. But it's a grind. You got to sign up for the grind. You got to be one part of that. Like I said, I'm excited now. Okay. I was a little apprehensive. There was a lot of oh shit after the first 2 games. The way that they were able to come out and just walk the ball was awesome. Get it the second time and progress again. Like it's cool as we can kind of take the items off of the list, because sack fumble happened. I'm getting texts. Here we go again. Everybody on our team doesn't value the ball. We turn it over, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, blown blocking assignment, helmet to the side of the face. You probably ain't holding on to that either, bud. There's a reason you played the position you played, so let's calm down, because it wasn't quarterback. The legend Jim Scott was in and ate lunch Saturday. It was always good to see Jim Scott. It's quite a day, but it's fun to have the fellas in. Taki was in town. His daughters played volleyball, so he was getting ready to go watch some volleyball. T. Frage was in. A couple other guys that didn't want mentioned, because I don't think they were supposed to be there having lunch beers, but they did. So we won't rat them out with their wives, who are fantastic women. To a man, it's just, you talk about it. It's like, hey, if they stop beating themselves, they're a decent team. And from what we've been experiencing in the past, we haven't even got to see decent. We've got to see mediocre at best. You got to have a plan laid out to progress, to get better and better and better. You just have to. So it's a fun week at the Win. We're 4 potentially games closer to having the Paisan secret menu pop out. A lot of the fellas that are on that menu are kind of getting pissy with me. They're just like, let it out. We're never going to be above 500. All we got to do is get above 500. That baby triggers. And all the awesome teammates I've had over the years get their pizzas. put out into the world of food. And everybody hopefully will enjoy those. Thank you guys. I'm gonna wrap this baby up because I'm a little stressed out. I'm not a technology guy, but appreciate you guys all for chiming in. I appreciate you coming along for the ride. And Law Tech next week. We will be back next Sunday morning. It will be me. Also, I will try to on my social media. So if you don't follow @verse51 is my Twitter. I guess if you're an old school gangster, you can go to Matt Vrzal on Facebook. Follow us at Husker Hangover on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We're going to put some stuff out. Some of the fellas have expressed some desire to have some content. I've shuffled around some stuff in my life to do it because I like making content. I like interacting with you guys. I like interacting with my buddies. And if you want to come along for the ride and listen to a bunch of dumbasses talk about an awesome game, I'm more than willing to try to give that a rip. But as always, thank you guys so much for joining in. I appreciate you. We will catch you guys next week. This is Matt Vrzal signing out for Husker Hangover. We're gone.